On the lineup today, NBA playoffs, Josh Hamilton and Alex Smith heading to Kansas City. Hello everybody and welcome to Lions Lineup. I'm Joe Caputo, joined here today by Jasmine Bodie and Chris Malicki. And Jasmine will talk about our first topic today, which happens to be the NBA.
Every team in the NBA is either fighting for a playoff spot or trying to hold on to one, with the NBA playoffs right around the corner. Which two teams do you think will go head-to-head in the NBA Finals?
Chris?
I think at this point, if you look in the Western Conference, we'll start there, and there's no team that I like better than the San Antonio Spurs, and it's a team that's been there before. They've clearly shown that they can win championships, but, you know, a couple people think, oh, they're too old.
Well, they've been there before. When's the last time they were there?
Yes, but I think another thing you have to realize is that they were up 2-0 on the Thunder last year, and the Thunder are James Hardenless now. It seems almost like simple math to me with the way the Spurs have consistently played game in and game out. They're winning games without their best players. They're having new players step up. I think that this really is just the year for the San Antonio Spurs.
Jazz, what do you think?
Okay, I think he's completely wrong in everything he just said, or just say the least. The Spurs have choked twice in the last 2 years. To me, they don't have it. I'm going with Oklahoma coming out of the West completely.
That's fine.
Even if they don't have James Harden, I still think they are the top team in the West right now.
I'm going to agree with Jasmine. I'm going to say the Thunder. The Thunder are the team that won the West last year. They showed that they could deal with adversity when beating San Antonio after they were down 2-0. So that should show you more about Oklahoma City than it should show you about San Antonio. San Antonio is a year older. They don't really have any new pieces. They don't have any new pieces. And yes, the Thunder don't have James Harden, but Kevin Martin is shooting almost 50% from three this year. He's filling in the role very nicely, and there's no reason to believe, for me and Jasmine apparently, that Oklahoma City will not repeat in the Western Conference.
Yeah, but Kevin Martin is not James Harden.
He's not, but he's close.
It's hard to make that comparison. I understand Martin has been very good for them. Also, though, it just you have the whole Westbrook Durant debate where Westbrook tends to take some shots that he shouldn't take, and I just feel like there's just some issues like that could potentially plague the Thunder, whereas for the Spurs, they don't have those kind of issues. They have a very stable team. They have a stable rotation. And you said they didn't have many new additions, but how about the development of players like Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Thiago Splitter? They're all proving to be big-time players. Add that in with the core of Duncan Parker Ginobili, and the Spurs just seem like the team to beat for me.
Okay, but look at the matchups. I mean, look at who the Spurs are going to be guarding some of the Thunder players with. I mean, you're putting Tony Parker on Russell Westbrook. That's not a favorable matchup for you. That's actually a terrible matchup in terms of if you're looking at it through San Antonio's perspective.
Don't forget to look at it the other way with Westbrook on Parker. Parker, I think, is a very underrated player.
But Westbrook's a capable defender, though. I mean, you're looking at putting Ibaka on Tim Duncan. I mean, that's a favorable matchup once again for Oklahoma City on the defensive end. I mean, Ibaka is one of the most capable players to guard Tim Duncan out of pretty much anyone in the NBA, I would say. Yeah. And then I guess let's go to the Kevin Durant matchup, obviously. And yes, Kawhi Leonard he's becoming an established defender, but is he there yet? I mean, Kevin Durant is probably the best scorer of the NBA. I mean, is he there at this point?
Well, I'm not saying that Kawhi Leonard is going to shut down Kevin Durant, but I think Kawhi Leonard is capable of making things less comfortable for Durant, and I think that's something that's going to be big too. And then also again, like who do you have to defend Splitter? Is Perkins?
I mean, you're talking about Thiago Splitter, though. I mean,
Splitter has been very good.
He's been very good, but
very
good
this year.
How many points per game is he averaging?
It's not just about points with him. He gets the rebounds, he gets the blocks. He's been put into the starting lineup, and he's been thriving. And I think that when you have there's a matchup. I think that Leonard will be able to, like I said, slow down Durant somewhat, and I think that it's not going to be too much of a problem for Parker, for Duncan against these defenders.
But the Spurs have choked twice in the playoffs in the last 2 years.
They've also won 4 championships.
They might have it all together during the regular season, but that doesn't mean anything when we get to the playoffs. They have a habit of, choking at the finish line, you could say.
Are we going to get to the East real quick?
They never make it.
Let's
go to the East. Yeah, that's true.
All right, because we're going to disagree on our Western Conference pick.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, it's hard to pick against the Heat right now, and I said that if the Bulls get Derrick Rose back, that they're a threat. And I still think that, but it seems to me like Derrick Rose coming back is becoming less and less of a possibility at this point. Would you agree with
Yeah,
that.
I think with the talks of what his brother was saying about the lack of acquisitions at the trade deadline, definitely is going to play into factor of Rose coming back. And you can't really blame him when you have a year like this where the Bulls don't exactly look like they are a championship contender, and why Rose injure himself further, which I think is even more to back up the fact that the Heat are running away with it. I'm on the Heat. They're running away with it. Everybody knows LeBron is playing phenomenal basketball. He had 40 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists last night, and he's just playing 16, excuse me. And he's just playing out of his mind right now, and I don't see why he won't do that come playoff time.
Jasmine, who's your
Okay,
pick?
with Derrick Rose coming back, even if he does come back to the Bulls, I don't think they necessarily have it this year, you could say, because he's not going to be 100% the Derrick Rose that we remember. So even if he does, I don't think they're going to be a contender. To all my Knicks fans out there, I'm sad to say that they're not going to make it to the finals. So sorry to crush a few spirits there. But I'm going to Heat too. I think they're strong this year, especially
all right, so
with
real
LeBron.
quick, before we go to a break, who's your NBA champion, Chris?
I got to go with the Heat. I don't think they can be beat.
Jasmine?
I'm going to go against the grain here and say OKC.
Okay. It's tough
What
for
do you
me
think?
because I don't know who's going to get there from the East. I mean, it's safe to say that the Heat are the best team. So right now, I'm going to go Heat too. All right, we'll take a quick short break, but when we come back, we'll give you the answer to this trivia question, which is which college basketball team has the longest win streak in the country? We'll have the answer right after the break. Welcome back. Before the break, we asked you who has the longest current winning streak in men's college basketball. The answer is surprisingly the Akron Zips, who have run 18 straight games. Now over to Chris, who's going to talk a little bit about the breaking news story of the day, Alex Smith to the Chiefs.
News broke that the Kansas City Chiefs have agreed to a deal with the San Francisco 49ers for quarterback Alex Smith. Smith was very efficient in San Francisco under Jim Harbaugh, but the theory of him being a game manager and the rise of Colin Kaepernick has forced him out. Smith is still highly regarded, being a former #1 overall pick and leading the Niners to the NFC Championship game. But whether or not he can lead the Chiefs, a team much weaker than the Niners, is a different story. Joe, I want to hear your take first, coming from a Niners fan. What do you think about this?
What are you asking me first? Are you asking me, do I think he should have gone there?
What do you think about the deal for both sides?
The deal's awful for Kansas City. I mean, who would give up a second-round pick for Alex Smith, a guy who just recently became good, in quotes, because the same team that he was good for just got to the Super Bowl without him. So is he going to be an immediate impact guy on Kansas City? Absolutely not. And that's what you need if you're the Chiefs right now. Well, I don't know. I don't know the number on how many games the Chiefs won last year, but I could imagine
it
was two.
Yeah, 2.
Okay. Is he going to get you the extra 6 or 7 you need to be a playoff team? Absolutely
probably
not. And the fact that you gave up a second-round pick, which basically is a first-round pick for the Chiefs, who have the #1 pick in the draft, so their pick is 2 picks later than the 49ers' first-rounder. That is awful to give up a pick for the second-round pick for Alex Smith, who barely can be considered a good quarterback.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with you. And the thing that is just funny about it is just the fact that the Chiefs basically did the same exact thing with Matt Castle. Castle had a good year when Brady was out for the Patriots, and then all of a sudden, oh, hey, let's sign Castle to a deal. Castle sucked. Now it's coming out that Castle is going.
Yeah, guess who's
he's
going to
be cut.
Yeah.
Castle. You can see the same thing happening with Smith in 2 years. You don't know.
Exactly.
And it just goes to show you how incompetent right now the Chiefs organization is. I'm sure you heard about the Save Our Chiefs Twitter account. Kansas City fans are really dying for just something here. And this move just shows it just shows you that they're just continuing to stay where they are.
I know Jasmine had a couple of theories on where Alex Smith should end up.
Well, the teams I thought were kind of in the hunt for him were the Chiefs, the Cardinals, and the Jets, believe it or not. Because I feel the Jets, Sanchez is not getting it done for them at all. And Tebow, to me, isn't even a quarterback, so we won't go into that whole story behind that. So I felt that the Jets really should have looked into acquiring him because I figure he has the experience. He's getting older, but so is everyone else kind of in the NFL. But I really thought that they should have put up a better effort to get him. And I feel like the draft is not really strong. Like the draft is not strong at all.
That really helped San Francisco in this whole process. The fact that there's really no immediate impact quarterback coming out. There's no. I mean, look at last year's draft compared to this year's draft. It's not even a comparison. So the fact that the Niners were a team trading a decent quarterback now, rather than if they were trading Alex Smith last year, there's a lot more of a demand right now for even a decent quarterback like Alex Smith, and now you're considering him second-round value. And not to mention, there's also another pick thrown in here, which is next year, a mid-round pick, which they didn't say what round it is.
True.
But still, it's just, to me, it makes no sense for Kansas City. They're not going to be good this year. And I know later on we have a little over-under segment that we will discuss how many wins the Chiefs actually will have this year. But I don't see the reason why the Chiefs would do it. And as a 49er fan, I am thrilled that I got a second-round pick out of Alex.
Yeah, they got away with murder in that one. And I just think it's going to goes to show you that the way the NFL is becoming these days, it's now becoming a win-now league. And you know that in the NFL, you need a good quarterback. You need pretty much an elite quarterback. And Smith, obviously, is not an elite quarterback, but these teams are getting so hungry to just win and the demand to win right now that they're making moves like this that are kind of spur of the moment and don't really make too much sense.
And we haven't even mentioned the fact that Kansas City is going to be paying Alex Smith $8 million to play quarterback for them this year.
Insane.
$8 million.
Yeah, and the deal just came out with Tom Brady. He's going to be making $9 million a year. So
just
$1 million more.
$1
million more for Brady and Smith
really
is wild.
All right, well, we need to take a quick break, but we'll be right back to discuss a little bit more right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Many teams have made a splash in this past MLB offseason, but you can't argue that any were bigger than acquiring outfielder Josh Hamilton for the Los Angeles Angels. 1 year removed from missing the playoffs, though, does this make the Angels a legit contender, or will we be seeing a familiar face representing the AL West in this year's playoffs? Guys?
Well, I think I'm going to go against the grain. I'll start it off by going with the Oakland Athletics to repeat to win the AL West. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, the win for them in the division title last year may have been a bit fluky, and then you just throw Hamilton into the Angels lineup, which now, having Pujols and Trout, has arguably 3 of the top 10 players in the major leagues. But Oakland's pitching staff is without a doubt the best in that division. They have 5 starters, all between the ages of 24 and 26, young guys. They all had ERAs of under 4 last year, and it just seems like if they can all start to come on and continue to really break out, Brett Anderson, Gerard Parker, Tommy Malone, they all seem to have that potential. And add that with the lineup that Oakland has with Josh Reddick, Coco Chris, Cespedes, I think that Oakland is going to sneak up on them.
That's the problem that I have with the A's, is that they really don't have a lineup. And I know pitching is ultimately what people say win championships, but you need to be able to hit. As you saw last year with the Yankees in the postseason, they pitched fine. They couldn't hit, though. And
Detroit pitched better.
Well, Detroit also hit.
Pitching is baseball,
so I can't see Oakland making another run like that with the lineup that they have. I personally think the Angels are far and away the team to beat in the AL West. I mean, you just said they have 3 of the top 10 hitters in baseball, and their pitching staff's not too shabby either. I mean, you look at Jared Weaver at the top, who's arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball. So couple him with a lineup with, I think, the best player in baseball right now, Mike Trout, and then you have hitting behind him. He's got 130 runs with Pujols and Morales hitting behind him. What's he going to do now when Hamilton and Pujols are behind him? And look at a guy like Albert Pujols, who had a little bit of a down year, while Kendry Morales hitting behind him was nothing compared to what he's going to have with Josh Hamilton behind him. So I just see the Angels as easily the best team to beat. Bold prediction I want to make in the AL West, however, is that the Seattle Mariners will finish ahead of the Texas Rangers, even though it's a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
Jasmine, who's your favorite to win the AL West?
Okay, I disagree with you completely. I actually agree with you this time. I'm going with Oakland as well. I think baseball, you need pitching. You need pitching. That's how you're going to win championships, as you stated before.
Well, the Angels have pitching, though.
And I don't
Oakland
think,
has better
but
pitching.
Yeah, exactly. And the Angels, you got an outfielder. You need pitching. Like, he's not really.
Well, my
really
argument against that. My argument against that is that the pitching staff of LA is feasible.
Oh, it is. They have a good pitching staff.
They can win a title with the staff that they have. But the lineups aren't even close. So when you compare the pitching staffs of the A's and the Angels, you can make an argument either way. I would take the A's as well. But when you make a comparison between the lineups of each team, it's not even close.
Okay, and you also have to realize the fact that last year, when they got Trout and then they got Pujols, and they were expected to be the favorite, they were expected to potentially win the World Series, and they didn't even make the playoffs. And the A's, who will use the same formula this year with their young pitching, with their lineup, with their overall team strength, that got it done. And I just feel like those results don't lie. That's what's got it done. it's really
Don't
was.
lie, but you're basically saying that any team that has ever made the playoffs for the first time
No,
in a
but
few years is
what
going to
I'm-
make it again the next year.
No,
That's
what I'm
It's not
saying-
guaranteed.
no.
Nothing is guaranteed in
No,
sports.
what
but
I'm saying is that I feel as though the A's are a safer bet in the sense that they have proven their formula works, whereas the Angels, who, like I said, went out and got Pujols.
Yeah, but their
they had
Angels'
Zach
formula,
Greinke
the Angels'
too.
formula wasn't the same formula they have this year.
No, but-
Josh Hamilton's there now.
But-
they didn't have Josh Hamilton last year.
But they went out and acquired all these big guys, and look what happened. There was no playoffs. And I'm not saying Los Angeles won't make the playoffs, but it really just kind of gives you pause when you look at a team. It's almost like the Lakers. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, but basketball's so much different with
It is.
Pebble
It's
and
very
everything
different.
else.
It's very different.
That's
It-
true.
baseball, you can make more of an impact.
Yes.
Without really affecting your team's
individual
chemistry.
player.
Yeah. Can we have like a timeout here? Can we talk about
Sure.
like the money aspect in this stuff?
Okay. What would
what
you
is
like
it?
to-
125 million.
Oh, for Josh Hamilton's contract?
Yeah,
I mean,
come on.
Well, they want to win.
That's-
I mean, that's
a
the
little
bottom line. In
extreme,
baseball
though.
right now, you got to spend money to win.
That's extreme.
And you see the contracts.
how is
that-
Oakland's payroll
extreme.
compared to Josh Hamilton's contract?
It's not
yeah,
even-
like
I'm curious
The
to see
money
that.
is
But
crazy
it doesn't
for him.
matter.
No,
I mean,
no,
The
but
money
there's
is
no
a
cap in
factor.
baseball, and that pretty much sums it up. I mean, that sums up how the Yankees have won their titles. That sums up how the Red Sox won a couple titles. That sums up everything in baseball.
now
it's the
you-
fact that you have to spend money to win.
okay, and now you
125
see with
million
the
in
money
5
that the
years.
Red Sox have spent in the past, and look how far they've fallen.
Well, that doesn't
That's
guarantee you
true.
a win, but
Exactly.
you
That's
have
a
to
lot
spend
of
money to
money.
win.
I'm
125
just saying
million?
that you can go out and buy all these flashy free agents all you want, but until you get it down the field, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
And a guy that we didn't even mention, Mark Trumbo, I think he's prime
Trumbo
for
is
a
definitely
great
be a
year
big
as well.
piece.
Yeah.
A guy that they're not really paying that much money. All right, we have to
That's true.
take another quick break, but we'll do a quick over-under segment first before we go to the break. And our first segment, our first topic revolves around the New York Yankees. And a lot of people have been saying they're down from last year. Now, they had 90-plus wins last year. Will they do it again this year? Jasmine,
I'm gonna say yes.
you're going to say
I'm gonna
yes?
say yes. I really am. I have faith in the Yankees. I really do.
All right,
so I'm
Chris?
definitely gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say under, and it's
Under 90.
under 90,
90?
and I'm gonna say it's probably mainly because the strength of that division of now it's become, and just the fact that they have to play all of those teams 18 games. The Blue Jays, Orioles, and Rays are all legit right now, and Red Sox Yankee games are never easy. So
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
say
think that
under.
the Orioles I don't think that the Orioles are as legit as people think they are at this point. I don't think the Rays
don't
are
know.
scary at this point either. I think the Yankees get 90, but I say they don't make the playoffs. That's my prediction. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. We talked about talked about them a little bit before. Over under 7 games, 7 wins.
Wow, that's clearly under. As we spoke about, it's just a no-brainer that a team with 2 wins. Do you think that Alex Smith is going to improve your team 5 wins
Yeah,
with the
it's not.
differential of Matt Castle? It doesn't make any sense. I know the Chiefs had a lot of injury last year, and they do have some talented pieces on the team, but I can't see Smith adding 5 wins to a team like
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna say under as well because I don't think Alex Smith is gonna get it done for
Yeah,
the Chiefs.
I would agree.
completely.
I'm going to say
He's
under
not.
as well. I think a better. I don't know who made up this 7 win. Well, what about 5? Do you guys say 5 wins even?
Even 5, I'm thinking 4 might be a better prediction.
Yeah, if I'm being generous,
5.
we'll say 5.
Maybe
yeah,
5, but-
that's
Maybe
that's on
5.
the
Okay.
positive side.
All right,
Yeah.
and finally, our next topic is Joe Flacco's contract, which this is an interesting topic. Do you think that his contract will end up being over or under $20 million per year?
I think it's gonna be over. I think that Flacco is wants the money. I think he's gonna get the money. It's like we spoke about this earlier. It's different with him and Brady. Brady willing to take less money for his team, and with you've seen with Flacco the kind of person he is with all these talks going on. He's just not going to do that, and there's no way the Ravens are not going to give him what he wants. I think he's going to get it.
Jasmine?
I disagree. I don't think he's gonna get it. Like, you're crazy.
So you're going to say under 20?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say under because you only won 1 championship, and you see somebody like Tom Brady who's so much better than you are and has many more championships. So I'm gonna say under.
All right, I'm gonna say under as well, but I don't think it's gonna be much under. And one question that I wanted to ask you guys is: does the Brady contract influence Joe Flacco's contract at all?
Yes.
You think it does?
Yeah, I
Chris,
think it
do you
does.
think it does?
I don't think so because I think that Flacco who knows if Flacco even heard that Brady got an extension at this point. I think he just cares about himself, and I think he cares about the money he's going to make. Not trying to portray and be a selfish guy, but I think that's.
I think he's coming off as a pretty selfish guy.
That's pretty much what it is. He's not going to care about Brady. He proclaimed himself as the best quarterback in the league, didn't he? So there you go.
All right, and finally, LeBron James, will he average over 30 points per game the rest of the season?
That's a bold prediction, and I think it's under. I don't think he's going to do that. I think when you look at just what happens over a regular season, and I feel like LeBron is more susceptible to games in the 20 points as opposed to his 40, 50-point outbursts that'll kind of average it out. I think there will be games where LeBron is more of a facilitator. There will be games where he'll kind of take maybe a bit of a back seat because they're getting ready for the playoffs. I think he'll go under.
I'm going to say under as well because in basketball, you can be on one night and you can be off the next. He's been having good games, but I don't think he's going to be able to continue at that high of a level until the end of the season.
Well, I'm going to say under as well, but for a different reason. I'm going to say not that he can't do it, because I feel like if he put his mind to it and he said, I have to average 30 a game, he would do it. But he's better off to his team sometimes distributing the ball. Exactly. So if you're as good of a player as LeBron that you could find different ways to help your team win, I think that he averages 20, 25 points per game in that area, but also gets the usual 7 assists, 7 rebounds that he gets, which is, I think, better sometimes than just averaging 30 and nothing else. All right, well, we're pretty much out of time for this edition of Lions Lineup. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you would like to become a part of LTV, email our account at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Chris Malicki and Jasmine Bodie and all of us here at LTV, I'm Joe Caputo, and we'll see you again next time.